Ita, ta, 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 ta. Aduh. Sakit.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Hakim ABDUL Malik, and today I'm going to talk about interjection as pragmatic markers in pain expression. Now, when we say pain expression, we Malaysians use aduh or adui or maybe curse words. But don't use curse words, guys. To us, it is 100% understandable because we know that when a person says aduh, it means that he or she is hurt, just like our sketch just now, but reverse. But if you really think about it, those words don't really make sense. I mean, what is aduh? And what is ouch? Maybe what is itatata? And why is it different from this language and this language? But both of them want to convey the same message, which is they got hurt. English has ouch, Malay has aduh, Japanese has itatata, and so on. So without further ado, let's talk about it. Alright, to understand a little bit more, let's get to know what is interjection and what is pragmatic markers. Now, an interjection is a word or an expression that occurs as an utterance on its own and expresses a spontaneous feeling or reaction, meaning that you say certain words without your own intentions, and usually it does not contain any meaning on its own. This has been discussed by Grant Barrett, an American lexicographer, in his public radio show called Away with Words. The link will be in the description. Some examples for interjection, when you say opochot, when you made a mistake, or maybe that when you're thinking what you're going to say in a public speaking, for example. Pragmatic markers, on the other hand, is a word or a phrase that plays a role in managing the flow and structure of written and spoken communications. It shows the connection between what is said and the wider context. Don't get it? Let's take for example, when a person says oh, the O itself doesn't have any meaning, but we know that he or she is trying to say that he or she understands. Right? Now combine both of them and we get interjection as pragmatic markers. In this case, aduh is an interjection that comes from our mouth unconsciously, and on its own, it doesn't have a meaning, but it is understood as I am hurt. Now what's interesting about this phenomenon is that every language has their own style of expressing pain, just as we discussed at the introduction. But there's one interjection that we all use, which is sorry about that. And the reason why this happened is because those words are not in the original language and it is not tied by the linguistic rules. And because of that, the way of expressing pain can be flexible and have to be based on their surroundings. Because even though they didn't learn it in school, they learn it in their culture and by their language. In conclusion, I believe that every language has its own unique. Because it can be that we feel the same thing, but we express it differently. That is why we have to learn other languages and other cultures, because Allah said that we are made into peoples and tribes for us to get to know each other. And I also believe that we have to mind with our words all the time, as it can probably mean something else to others. We have to respect other people's culture, as we probably misunderstand them because of how different we are. Note that we might be different externally, but in truth, we are the same. Until then, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.